Cyclone Sounds of 6061 Ottawa High School. Yes, school spirit was a traditional item at Ottawa High School. Lauren Matthews led the Cyclone Band, while cheerleaders Joyce Cox, Janet Duncan, Sandra Mathias, Janet Cox, Marilyn Robertson, and Carol Henley led the spirit of the Cyclones. One of the groups they cheered was the football squad under Coach Harold Wallace and junior high coach Don Kornhaus. Coach, what kind of a year did Ottawa have on the gridiron?
We were real disappointed in our season as far as our won and lost record was concerned. One of the bright things of the season is the fact that we did get to play a lot of underclassmen. Our squad was probably the smallest of any AA squad in the state. We have 14 underclass lettermen coming back next year, so we do feel that things are looking up if we can build a spirit that is needed to develop a strong football team.
The junior high program was fortunate this year in having truly all underclassmen as far as junior high is concerned to compete on our team. Our team won 3 games and lost 3 games. However, we felt that the record did not justify the boys playing. While we lost 3 games, we outscored our opponents 100 points to 55 points. We had many boys this year who will be back for 2 years more of competition. And we hope that in the future we're going to improve on our record so that we can win 6 and lose none.
Things were lively around homecoming time when Ottawa crowned 2 lovelies, Joyce and Janet Cox, daughters of Orlis Cox, OHS instructor, as twin homecoming queens. Here is P.K. Worley introducing the queens.
It's a great deal of pleasure that we welcome all of you again to this 1960 homecoming here at Ottawa High School. And it's with a great deal of pleasure that we present to you now our 2 very lovely homecoming queens, Miss Janet and Joyce Cox.
Janet and Joyce are being escorted this evening by John Frederick and Tom Camel. The other senior attendants, Miss Janet Duncan, is escorted by Bob Lewis, and Miss Sandra Mathias escorted by Bill Jensen. King basketball captured the sports scene with an exciting season which surely gave head coach H.K. Stevens a few new gray hairs. H.K. and Coach Harvey Drake, junior high basketball coach, what kind of seasons did your boys have this year?
Overall, we think we had a pretty good basketball season. 7th and 8th grade team, coached by Don Kornhaus, had an 8-1 record, which is the best a junior high team has had in a long time. The freshmen were less fortunate as they won 3 and lost 8. We had some pretty close contests, but we just didn't scratch enough to win. We have some boys, Jim Lewis, a good shooter, Doug Schultz and Eddie Davison, who could help the high school ball team in the future. 7th and 8th grade team had a fine group with Ronnie Mendel, Terry Davis and David Spears being very capable performers.
At Ottawa Senior High School, we just finished an interesting and winning basketball season. The varsity won 13 games and finished second in the Northeast Kansas League. 4 seniors, Bob Lewis, Ron Roosh, Bill Jensen, and John Frederick formed the nucleus of this year's team. Bob Lewis was on the Topeka Daily Capital All-State team. Mickey Reed, 6'4" junior center, was on the Northeast Kansas League second team. Gary Prager received honorable mention on the league team. 2 sophomores, Harry Morton and Roy Dunn, played an important part in Ottawa High School basketball. I believe I am safe in saying that much of the winning basketball spirit at Ottawa High School can be traced to our fine and enthusiastic student body.
Miss Opal Niemeyer was crowned 1960-61 Queen of Courts, with Judy Lister and Lana Booth as her attendants. One of the really important jobs at Ottawa High is the editorship of the student newspaper, the Ottawa Record. Peggy Nordyke held this post during the 1960-61 school year. Peggy, what were a few of the big events that happened during the year?
From the pages of the Ottawa Record, here are a few of the big headlines of the year. Seo Kutsu of Tokyo, Japan was our first exchange student. OHS moved from Northeast Kansas League to the Eastern Kansas League. The faculty Fossils met the seniors in a thrilling basketball game March 14th and won 61-45. At the half, Al Brox and Jane Fearborn were crowned King and Queen of Courts. The junior play, Charlie's Aunt, was a howling success. Tony Myers, David Haverty, and Quinn Seymour held major roles. Officers for the Junior High Council were Eddie Davidson, Fern Kaler, Gene Wright, and Steve Queen. Sponsors were Mr. Lowell Gish and Mrs. Dixie Atchison. The Senior High Student Council officers were Eddie Martin, Ronnie Roosh, Paula Perkins, and Sharon Bennett. Sponsors were Miss Nora Evans and Mrs. Hester Lorcher. Eddie Martin and Judy Lister were named Mr. and Miss OHS at the record party February 3rd. Janet Duncan and Tom Camel were named runners-up. Jim Lewis and Judy Doherty were named Mr. and Miss Junior OHS on January 20th, with Linda Showalter and Dwayne Camel as runners-up. There were 80 students named to the honor roll for 6 weeks of the second semester, showing Ottawa's academic achievement. These were just a few of the front-page stories for the year 1960-61.
Another big news item at OHS was the senior play, The Silver Whistle, directed by Jane Fearborn, speech instructor at Ottawa High. Here is Jill Jeffries, Eddie Martin, Carol Bruce, and Janet Duncan presenting a scene from the play.
It should have come out right then. You risked my life to save the money for an operation.
Now, Mrs. Hamner, you know that isn't so. We had the doctor in for you. Do you remember what the doctor gave you?
He gave her laxity.
The doctor told you it was just your imagination. And how are you, Miss Hoadley?
All right. She doesn't know whether she is or whether she isn't.
She's been drinking again.
She doesn't even know she's in an old people's home. You ought to do something about her. She's on church property, and you can't keep her sober.
She's certainly tipsy.
Tipsy? She's drunk.
Miss Hoadley, Miss Hoadley.
She's so deaf she can't hear you.
Miss Hoadley, can you hear me?
Knock the head off another bottle and pass the pickle legs.
I don't know why the Reverend Watson stands for it.
Few events aroused as much interest as did the operetta, The Burglar, directed by John Jones, vocal music instructor at Ottawa High. Outstanding performances were turned in by Tom Camel, Susan Kelly, Eleanor Ott, Bill Douglas, to name a few, while Lorraine Moffat, Nancy Burlingham, and Anna Channon were the pianists. Here is Marvin Pratt, Tom Camel, Les Statt, Mike Edwards, and Alan Reibold singing the alma mater song from The Burglar.
This is a solemn moment. Let us join in singing our alma mater song. Potts, you're freshman song leader, I believe.
Who's our favorite cup of tea? Who's our bestest loyal? Who's the one to whom we'll be ever true and loyal? Other loves may fade away, but we've always got her. So let's dedicate the way to our alma mater. Sing a song, and trill a trill, trill a trill to the dear old school on the dear old hill. With a heck, heck, heck to the dear old friend, and a rousing scream to the dear old team. And our cheers are given with the will, to the old school sweater and the old school chant. And our cheers are given with the will, to the old school sweater and the old
The year has been eventful and not without its pleasures. The fine work of Ottawa administrators Norris Burke, Lowell Gish, Henry Parker, and the Board of Education have provided a steadfast and diligent group of men working toward educational development. Unfortunately, two of these men, Norris Burke and Lowell Gish, are leaving the system. To these two fine administrators, we dedicate this record closing the last chapter of the 1960-61 school year.
The halls of marble, the quiet places, in days to come we'll remember their faces. Though all is misty with dust and age, we'll leaf through our memories page by page. These hallowed halls that we once tread shall no longer echo with what we've said. And when memories fade and days flee by, we then may salute you, our Ottawa High.
Sounds of the Cyclone, a year we'll never recapture, except in memory.